You are not tired. You are undisciplined. Motivation is a liar that only shows up when life is easy. Discipline is the system that carries you when you are weak, bored, angry, and done with excuses. This audiobook is not here to inspire you. It is here to install a mental machine that forces action when you feel nothing. When your mind wants comfort, this system demands commitment. If you stay with me, you will stop waiting for motivation, and you will become the person who acts no matter what. Chapter 1. Stop negotiating with your feelings. You wake up tired. Your mind whispers, "Not today." Your body feels heavy. And right there, you make the most dangerous mistake of your life. You start negotiating. You ask your emotions for permission. You ask your mood for approval. You ask your energy level to sign the contract. And when they say no, you obey. That's not self-care. That's self-sabotage. Here's the truth. Feelings are data, not commands. They are information, not instructions. Say it out loud. I don't obey moods. That's the key. Because most people don't fail from lack of intelligence. They fail from one habit. They negotiate every day. I'll do it later. I'm not in the mood. I don't feel like it. I'll start when I'm ready. Listen carefully. Ready is a feeling. And feelings are unreliable. You have a choice. Every single day, you have a choice. Act or negotiate. Move or delay. Execute or explain. And every time you negotiate, you train yourself to quit. You don't need their permission. Your emotions don't get a vote on your standards. Your mood does not decide your mission. Your comfort does not run your life. Your standards run your life. That's the key. Look at athletes. Real athletes. Not talkers. The ones who win when nobody is watching. They train sick. They train tired. They train bored. They train when they feel nothing. Not because they're superhuman, but because they made a decision you haven't made yet. They stopped negotiating. They don't wake up and ask, "Do I feel like training?" They wake up and say, "I train. That's what I do." It's not about motivation. It's about discipline. And discipline starts with one sentence. I don't obey moods. You have a choice. Your brain is a survival machine. It is built to keep you safe, not strong. It is designed to avoid discomfort, not chase growth. So when you decide to do hard things, your brain creates resistance. It creates excuses. It creates emotions. It might create anxiety. It might create fatigue. It might create a sudden important distraction. And you think that resistance means you should stop. No. Resistance is proof you're on the right path. That's the key. If you only work when it feels good, you're not disciplined. You're just lucky. Discipline is what you do when it feels bad. You have a choice. Here's what weak people do. They treat emotions like orders. They feel tired, they stop. They feel doubt, they back off. They feel fear, they hide. They worship their mood. And their mood keeps them small. Here's what disciplined people do. They treat emotions like weather. It can rain, and they still go. It can be windy, and they still go. It can be cold, and they still go. Because they don't obey moods. You don't need their permission. Now listen, I'm not telling you to pretend you don't feel. I'm telling you to stop letting feelings lead. Feelings can sit in the passenger seat. They cannot touch the steering wheel. That's the key. So what do you do practically? You install one rule. Act first. Feel later. Not sometimes. Not when it's convenient. Always. Act first. Then let your feelings catch up. Because action creates clarity. Action creates energy. Action creates confidence. Confidence is not something you wait for. It's something you earn. You have a choice. Here's the moment that changes everything. When you feel resistance, you don't negotiate. You move. You don't analyze. You don't debate. You don't make a speech. You move. 5 minutes. One small action. One step forward. That's the key. When you say, "I'll do it later," you're lying to yourself. Not because you're a bad person. Because you're trying to avoid discomfort. And discomfort is the price of growth. So you pay it now, or you pay it later with regret.
You have a choice.
Let me give you a real behavioral instruction, a system. The no negotiation protocol. Use this every time.
Name it.
Say, "This is a mood."
Not a truth. Not a command. A mood. Commit to the minimum. Not the full workout. Not the full project.
Just the first 5 minutes. Because starting is the real battle. Move immediately. Before your brain builds a courtroom case.
Before excuses form.
Before you talk yourself out of it. You don't need their permission. If your mind says, "I'm tired," you respond,
"Maybe."
Still moving. If your mind says, "I'm not motivated," you respond,
"Good."
Still moving. If your mind says, "This is hard," you respond, "That's why I'm doing it."
That's the key.
Because the goal is not to feel good. The goal is to become reliable. Reliable people win. Reliable people build businesses. Reliable people build bodies. Reliable people build self-respect. And self-respect is the real reward.
You have a choice.
Right now, your identity is being trained. Every time you delay, you become the person who delays. Every time you quit, you become the person who quits. Every time you obey your mood, you become the person controlled by moods. But every time you act anyway, you change.
You become dangerous. Not loud. Not dramatic.
Dangerous because you're consistent.
That's the key. And listen, low energy still counts. A small workout still counts. A small study session still counts.
One paragraph still counts.
One phone call still counts.
Because discipline is not perfection. Discipline is proof. Proof that you do what you said you would do. You don't need their permission. Your emotions will try to protect your old self. They will beg you to stay the same.
But you have a choice.
And the moment you stop negotiating with your feelings, you stop being a slave to comfort. You start building real discipline. Say it one last time.
I don't obey moods. That's the key.
You just learned the foundation. Feelings are data, not commands.
You act first.
You feel later. Now let's expose the next lie that keeps millions stuck, the lie of motivation. You mastered the negotiation.
Now we kill the scam.
Chapter 2, Motivation is a Scam.
You're waiting.
Waiting to feel ready. Waiting to feel inspired. Waiting for motivation to arrive like a miracle. And while you wait, your life stays exactly the same. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Motivation is not missing.
It is fake.
It's a story your mind tells you to avoid action. Say it clearly. Motivation is a scam.
That's the key. You have a choice.
You can keep waiting for a feeling. Or you can become the person who moves without it. Most people think motivation comes first. They believe the order is, feel good, act, succeed. That order is backwards. The real order is brutal and simple. Act, build energy, feel motivated.
Say it.
Action creates energy.
That's the key.
You don't need their permission. Your emotions don't need to be aligned. Your confidence doesn't need to be high. Your mood doesn't need to cooperate.
You move anyway.
Look at creators who succeed.
Not the ones who talk. The ones who publish.
They upload when views are 0. They upload when comments are silent. They upload when nobody cares.
They don't wait for motivation.
They let action create it. Because they understand something you haven't installed yet. Motivation is a reward, not a requirement.
You have a choice.
Every time you say, "I'll start when I feel motivated," you delay your identity. You tell your brain that feelings come first. And your brain loves that deal.
It keeps you comfortable. It keeps you safe.
It keeps you average.
That's the key.
It's not about talent.
It's about discipline.
You don't become productive because you're motivated. You become motivated because you were productive. Think about your own life. When was the last time you suddenly felt amazing without doing anything first?
Exactly.
Energy comes from motion. Confidence comes from proof. Motivation comes from execution.
Say it again.
Action creates energy.
You have a choice. Here is the trap. You sit. You wait. You scroll. You think.
You analyze why you're not motivated. You diagnose yourself. You search for the perfect mindset video.
And nothing changes.
Because you are trying to think your way into action. That never works. Action is not a feeling. Action is a decision. And you don't need their permission to decide.
Your mood is not your boss. Your past is not your boss.
Your fear is not your boss.
You are the boss. That's the key.
Let's talk about what real discipline looks like. Real discipline doesn't ask, "Do I feel like it?" It asks, "What's the next physical step?"
Not the whole project. Not the whole workout. Not the whole plan.
Just the next move.
Open the laptop. Write one sentence. Put on the shoes.
Walk outside.
That's it.
Because once motion starts, resistance collapses. Your brain is lazy by design. It avoids effort until effort begins. Then something changes. Your heart rate goes up.
Your blood moves. Your focus sharpens.
And suddenly, you feel different. Not because motivation arrived, but because you created it. Action creates energy.
That's the key. You have a choice.
Here is your new rule. You never wait to feel motivated. You wait to feel tired, then you act. Because tired is the moment discipline is forged. If you only work when you feel inspired, you're not disciplined.
You're lucky.
It's not about passion.
It's about discipline.
Let's talk about creators again. You see the finished product.
The views. The followers. The praise.
You don't see the uploads with 3 views. You don't see the videos nobody shared. You don't see the nights they wanted to quit.
They didn't feel motivated. They felt invisible. And they posted anyway.
You don't need their permission. Your future audience is built by actions no one applauds.
That's the key.
Now let me be clear. Motivation is not evil.
It's just unreliable.
It's a side effect, not a strategy. When you chase motivation, you chase a mood. When you build systems, you build results.
You have a choice.
Chase feelings, or build habits. Here's the habit that replaces motivation.
The one-task rule.
Every day, no matter how you feel, you complete one uncomfortable task.
Not the easiest. Not the most fun. The one you're avoiding.
And you complete it before consuming anything else.
No phone. No videos. No scrolling.
You don't need their permission. This rule rewires your brain. It teaches your nervous system that action is non-negotiable. And once this habit forms, motivation becomes irrelevant.
That's the key.
Because the most dangerous sentence in your life is this: "I'll do it when I feel ready."
Ready is a feeling. And feelings lie.
They say you're not prepared. They say you're tired. They say you'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow never shows up.
You have a choice.
You either become the person who waits for feelings, or the person who manufactures momentum.
And momentum is built, not found. Say it.
Action creates energy.
Again.
Action creates energy. This chapter is not telling you to ignore how you feel. It's telling you to stop worshipping how you feel. Your feelings are not a strategy.
They are noise.
Your actions are your strategy.
That's the key.
So from today forward, motivation is fired. You don't ask if you're ready. You ask what the first physical step is.
And then you move.
Because discipline is not dramatic.
It is quiet. It is boring. It is unstoppable.
You don't need their permission. You don't need motivation. You need standards. You just learned the truth. Motivation is a scam. Action is the real fuel. Now it's time to remove the last illusion, the idea that willpower is enough. You mastered the lie of motivation. Now we build something that never runs out. Chapter 3: Build systems, not willpower. You're tired of failing the same way.
You start strong.
You promise yourself this time is different. You rely on willpower. And then life happens.
Stress, boredom, distraction, fatigue.
And suddenly, your willpower disappears. That's not a personal flaw. That's biology. Here is the truth: willpower runs out.
Systems don't. Say it. Willpower runs out. Systems don't. That's the key. You have a choice.
You can keep fighting your mind every day. Or you can remove the fight entirely. Because discipline is not about being strong. It's about being structured. It's not about motivation.
It's about discipline.
And discipline lives inside systems. You don't need their permission. Right now your life is built on decisions.
What time to wake up? When to work? When to train? What to eat? What to avoid?
And every decision drains you. Decision fatigue is real. Your brain is not built to make 500 good choices per day.
So it defaults to comfort.
And comfort is your enemy.
That's the key. Look at disciplined people.
They wake up at the same time. They follow the same morning flow. They don't ask, "What should I do today?" They already know.
Same wake-up time. Same routine. Zero debate. Because debate is delay. And delay is death.
Here is your new law.
No decision. No delay. Say it. No decision. No delay. That's the key.
Every time you ask yourself what you feel like doing, you sabotage momentum. Every time you leave room for choice, you invite weakness. Systems remove weakness.
You have a choice.
Let me show you how systems beat willpower in real life. When your alarm goes off, do you think?
Or do you move?
If you think, you negotiate. If you negotiate, you lose. The system says, alarm, feet on floor, bathroom, water, movement.
No emotion. No story. No delay.
You don't need their permission. Your system does not care how you slept. Your system does not care how you feel. Your system only cares that the action happens.
That's the key.
Willpower is you pushing a rock uphill every day. A system is building a road so the rock rolls by itself. Which one lasts? You already know. It's not about intensity.
It's about discipline.
Now listen carefully. Most people don't fail because they are lazy. They fail because their environment is not designed for success. Your phone is in your hand when you wake up. Your shoes are buried in a closet. Your tasks are scattered. And then you blame yourself.
Stop. Design beats desire. You have a choice.
Here is the system you install today.
The fixed start system.
Your day starts the same way every day.
Same time.
Same first 3 actions.
No exceptions. Example. Alarm rings.
You stand up immediately.
You drink water.
You move your body for 2 minutes.
That's it. Not impressive. Not dramatic. But unstoppable.
Because consistency beats intensity every time.
That's the key.
You don't need motivation for a system. You don't need willpower for a system. You only need to obey it. And obedience is easier than decision-making.
You have a choice.
Let's talk about work. Right now, your work depends on how you feel. Some days you push. Some days you stall.
That's chaos.
A disciplined system looks like this.
Same work block. Same time. Same location.
Same rule, phone away.
No decision. No delay. You sit. You start.
You don't ask how you feel.
Say it. No decision. No delay. That's the key.
Your environment must force your behavior. If your phone is on your desk, your system is broken. If your tasks are unclear, your system is broken. If your routine changes every day, your system is broken. Fix the system, not your personality. It's not about weakness.
It's about discipline.
Now listen, this is critical. Willpower works when life is calm. Systems work when life is chaos. When stress hits.
When emotions spike. When motivation dies. Your system still runs. That's the key.
Here is the daily discipline framework. The 3-system structure. Morning system, same start every day. Work system, same block, same rule. Shutdown system, same end every night. You don't need their permission. Morning system creates momentum. Work system creates output. Shutdown system protects energy. And together, they replace willpower.
You have a choice.
Right now, you are tired because you are making too many decisions. You are exhausted because you are fighting yourself.
A system ends the war. No emotion. No debate. Just execution. Say it again. Willpower runs out. Systems don't. That's the key.
This chapter is not about doing more. It's about deciding less. When you decide less, you act more. And action is the language of discipline. You don't need their permission. You build the road. Then you walk it every day. Even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. Because that is who you are becoming. You just learned the truth. Your willpower is not broken, your structure is. Fix the structure, and discipline becomes automatic. You mastered feelings. You exposed motivation. Now you built the machine. Next, we destroy the comfort that is quietly killing your ambition. Chapter 4. Your comfort is your cage. You are not trapped by failure. You are trapped by comfort. Your life did not collapse. It slowly softened. One scroll at a time. One excuse at a time. One "I deserve a break" at a time. And now you feel stuck. Here is the truth. Comfort slowly kills ambition. Say it. Comfort slowly kills ambition. That's the key. You have a choice. You can stay comfortable and complain. Or you can get uncomfortable and change. Most people think danger looks loud. Crisis. Loss. Pain. But the real danger is quiet. Soft. Warm. It feels like the couch. It looks like the phone. It sounds like just 5 minutes. And 5 minutes becomes 5 years. You don't need their permission. Your comfort is not your friend. It is a cage. You wake up. You grab your phone. You scroll before you think. And before the day even starts, your focus is gone. Scrolling is not rest. It is sedation. It numbs urgency. It kills hunger. It replaces purpose with noise. That's the key. You are not lazy. You are distracted. It's not about lack of goals, it's about discipline. It's not about weakness, it's about discipline. It's not about burnout, it's about discipline. You have a choice. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you teach your brain a dangerous rule. Avoid effort. Seek ease. Repeat. And your brain listens. Because your brain is built for survival, not success. Success is uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. That's why most people don't change. They don't want to leave the cage. Say it now. If it's easy, it's poison. That's the key. Let's talk about ambition. Ambition is not loud. It's not dramatic. It's fragile. It needs pressure. It needs friction. It needs resistance. And comfort removes all three. You scroll instead of building. You consume instead of creating. You watch other people live instead of designing your own life. And then you wonder why nothing moves. You don't need their permission. Your phone has become your escape hatch. Anytime things get hard, you disappear into it. That is not rest. That is retreat. You have a choice. You either build a life, or you escape from it. There is no third option. If it's easy, it's poison. That's the key. Here is what comfort really does. It convinces you that tomorrow is safer than today. That later is smarter than now. That preparation is progress. And you keep preparing. And nothing changes. Comfort keeps you busy but unproductive. It gives you the illusion of movement while your life stands still. It's not about talent, it's about discipline. Now listen carefully. Your ambition is not dead.
It is sedated. And sedation feels like peace. But it is decay. You have a choice. Here is your first instruction. The discomfort trigger rule. The moment you feel the urge to escape, scrolling, snacking, wandering, that is your signal. Not to relax. To attack. Stand up. Move. Do the one task you are avoiding. Because avoidance is the language of comfort. And comfort is your cage. That's the key. Let's make it real. You're writing something important. It gets hard. Your fingers freeze. And suddenly you check your phone. That is not random. That is training. You have trained yourself to run when effort appears. So you retrain yourself. You feel the pull. You don't obey it. You don't need their permission. You close the app. You take a breath. You do one uncomfortable thing. One sentence. One push-up. One hard decision. Because discipline is built in discomfort. You have a choice. Here is the second instruction. The comfort audit. For the next 7 days, write down every escape. Every scroll. Every snack. Every delay. Not to shame yourself. To expose the cage. When you see it, you break it. That's the key. You were not born addicted to comfort. You trained into it. And anything trained can be untrained. But only if you stop lying to yourself. It's not about stress, it's about discipline. It's not about exhaustion, it's about discipline. Your life is not heavy. It is soft. You don't need their permission. The days you avoid discomfort are the days you trade your future for relief. And relief never builds anything. Say it again. If it's easy, it's poison. That's the key. Now here is the third instruction. The daily hard thing. Every day, you do one thing you don't want to do. Before comfort. Before entertainment. Before escape. One hard thing. Not because it's efficient. Because it changes who you are. It teaches your brain a new rule. I move toward resistance. I don't run from it. That is discipline. You have a choice. You can protect your comfort. Or you can protect your future. One will cost you everything. Comfort will never tell you the truth. It will whisper lies. Rest a little more. Tomorrow is better. You deserve a break. But ambition dies in small kindnesses. That's the key. This chapter is not about becoming extreme. It's about becoming awake. You stop confusing ease with peace. You stop confusing comfort with happiness. Because happiness is built, not consumed. You don't need their permission. You just learned the real enemy. Not failure. Not fear. Comfort. You broke the cage. Now it's time to learn how discipline is proven on your worst days. You escaped comfort. Now you must train under resistance. Chapter 5. Train when you don't feel like it. Some days you wake up already empty. Your eyes are heavy. Your body is slow. Your mind is loud with reasons to quit. Those days are not accidents. They are the real test. Because discipline is not measured on good days. It is measured on bad days. Say it clearly. Discipline is measured on bad days. That's the key. You have a choice. You can treat exhaustion like permission to disappear, or you can treat it like training. Most people only work when they feel strong. They wait for motivation. They wait for energy. They wait for a mood. And that is why nothing changes. You don't need their permission. Your future is not built when you feel amazing. It is built when you feel nothing and still move. That's the key. Low energy is not a stop sign. It is a signal. A signal that your identity is about to be tested. Say it now. Low energy still counts. That's the key. It's not about intensity, it's about discipline. It's not about talent, it's about discipline. It's not about mood, it's about discipline. Here is the lie that ruins people: I'll rest today and come back stronger tomorrow. Tomorrow is a story your mind tells you to avoid effort. Tomorrow is not discipline. Today is. You have a choice. When you are tired, your brain does not want action. It wants comfort. It wants escape. It wants delay.
And the moment you obey that impulse, you teach your nervous system that quitting is acceptable. That lesson does not disappear.
It compounds. That's the key.
So you install a rule that saves you on your worst days. The 5-minute rule.
On your worst days, you do not aim to finish. You aim to begin. 5 minutes. One task. No negotiation. You don't analyze.
You don't judge.
You start.
You don't need their permission. When your mind says, "I'm too tired," you respond, 5 minutes. When your body says, "Not today," you respond, 5 minutes. When doubt shows up, you respond, 5 minutes. Because 5 minutes keeps you in the game.
That's the key.
Here is what happens when you do this.
Your heart rate changes.
Your breathing shifts.
Your focus sharpens.
Not because motivation arrived, but because motion created it.
Say it again.
Low energy still counts.
That's the key. You have a choice.
Wait to feel better, or move and let your body catch up. It's not about how hard you go, it's about that you go. Now listen carefully. Your worst days are not random. They are scheduled.
Stress will come. Sleep will fail.
Problems will stack. Those days will arrive whether you prepare or not. Discipline is not reacting emotionally. It is responding mechanically.
You move anyway.
You don't need their permission. Here is the second instruction. The non-negotiable window. Pick one small window every day.
10 minutes. 15 minutes.
This window does not disappear. Not when you are busy. Not when you are tired. Not when life is loud. This window exists because your identity exists. When discipline is optional, it is never chosen.
That's the key.
This window is not about greatness. It is about proof. Proof that you do not disappear when pressure shows up.
You have a choice.
Build the habit of showing up, or the habit of escaping.
One builds strength.
The other builds regret. Most people sabotage themselves with a soft sentence, "I'll make it up later." There is no later in discipline. There is only now. You don't need their permission. Here is the third instruction. The identity anchor. On your bad days, you do not aim for progress. You aim for continuity. You stay inside the routine.
You remain in the system.
You keep the chain alive. Because discipline is not about big wins. It is about not breaking the pattern.
That's the key.
You are not tired because you work too hard. You are tired because you avoid effort. It's not about fatigue, it's about discipline. It's not about stress, it's about discipline. Your body is not broken.
Your habits are. You have a choice.
Protect your comfort, or protect your standard. Comfort feels good. Standards build lives. You don't need their permission.
Let's be honest.
When you quit on bad days, you are not protecting your health. You are protecting your excuses. Health is built by movement. Confidence is built by proof. Respect is built by reliability. And reliability is built when you act without feeling ready.
That's the key.
Here is a reality check. The version of you who only works when inspired is not disciplined. That version is fragile. The version of you who moves when tired is unstoppable. Which one are you building?
Say it again.
Low energy still counts.
That's the key.
Now think about tomorrow morning. Your alarm will ring.
Your mind will protest. Your body will beg.
That moment is not about fitness. It is about identity.
You have a choice.
Snooze and reinforce weakness, or stand up and reinforce discipline. You don't need their permission. Your body does not need motivation. It needs leadership. Your mind does not need comfort. It needs direction. It's not about emotion, it's about discipline. This chapter is not asking you to be extreme. It is asking you to be reliable. Reliable when tired. Reliable when stressed. Reliable when bored. Because boring discipline beats exciting excuses every time.
That's the key.
Say it one last time with force. Low energy still counts.
That's the key.
You learned how discipline is forged on bad days. You stayed when quitting was easier. Now it's time to remove the silent thief that destroys consistency.
You trained when it hurt. Now we cut the noise.
Chapter 6: Cut Distractions Without Mercy. Your phone is a discipline leak. Not because technology is evil. Because it trains your brain to escape effort the moment discomfort appears. Every vibration steals a fragment of your future. Every notification is a tiny command you keep obeying. Say it clearly. Your phone is a discipline leak.
That's the key. You have a choice.
You can let your attention be rented by strangers, or you can reclaim it and build something real. Most people treat distraction like a break.
Like rest.
Like something harmless. But it is not harmless.
It is sedation.
It dulls urgency. It kills ambition quietly. You don't need their permission to stop being available to noise. It's not about boredom, it's about discipline. It's not about entertainment, it's about discipline. You sit down to work. One hard thought appears. One uncomfortable task. And without thinking, your hand reaches for your phone. That movement is not random.
It is trained.
You trained your nervous system to avoid effort with dopamine. And what is trained can be untrained.
You have a choice.
Say the phrase now.
Protect the mission. That's the key.
The mission is not your job title. It is not your to-do list. The mission is the person you are becoming. Every distraction is a small betrayal of that mission.
Rule 1: Remove access.
Your phone does not belong on your desk. It does not belong in your pocket. It belongs in another room. Silent mode is not enough. Airplane mode is not enough. Distance is the only boundary that works. When the phone is out of reach, your authority returns. You don't need their permission to create physical separation between you and temptation.
You have a choice.
Let your environment control you, or design your environment to control your behavior.
That's the key. Rule 2: Block the triggers. You do not have a willpower problem. You have an access problem.
So you remove access before the craving speaks.
Block the apps. Delete the shortcuts. Remove the feeds.
You don't keep poison in the kitchen and hope for discipline. You remove it.
Protect the mission. That's the key.
Distraction is not entertainment. It is avoidance wearing makeup. When the task is heavy, you escape. When discipline is required, you disappear. It's not about weakness, it's about discipline.
You have a choice. Rule 3: Deep work blocks.
Every single day you protect one block of time. 30 minutes.
1 hour. One task. No phone. No tabs. No noise.
You vanish from the world. This block is sacred. You don't check messages. You don't respond to anything. You disappear into creation. Because nothing meaningful is built in fragments.
That's the key. Now be honest.
You say you are busy. But you are always available to distractions. You say you lack time. But you find hours to scroll.
You do not lack time. You leak it.
And leaks sink ships.
You have a choice.
Seal the leak or keep drowning slowly.
Protect the mission. That's the key. Rule 4: The distraction audit.
For 7 days, track every unnecessary phone check. Every scroll. Every escape.
Not to shame yourself. To wake yourself up.
Awareness is the blade that cuts denial. You don't need their permission to see the truth. It's not about habits, it's about discipline. You do not fix distraction by trying harder. You fix it by removing access and redesigning your environment.
You have a choice. Rule 5: Morning silence.
Your phone does not get your first attention. Your goals do. For the first 30 minutes of your day, there is no screen. You think.
You write. You move.
Because whoever owns your morning owns your life.
That's the key. Rule 6: Night shutdown.
Your phone does not get your last attention.
Your future does.
No scrolling in bed. No noise before sleep. A distracted night creates a distracted day. You don't need their permission to protect your mind.
You have a choice.
Every distraction is a small betrayal.
Not of productivity. Of identity.
You are either the person who protects their focus, or the person who sells it for comfort. It's not about convenience, it's about discipline.
Say it again. Protect the mission. That's the key.
Your attention is your most valuable currency. Where it goes, your life follows. If you give it to noise, your life becomes noise. If you give it to the mission, your life becomes a weapon. You don't need their permission. This chapter is not telling you to become extreme. It is telling you to become sovereign. You stop being available to everything so you can be committed to something.
You cut the noise.
You sealed the leak. You mastered distraction. Now it is time to build something deeper than habits.
Now we redefine who you are.
Chapter 7, Identity Beats Goals.
Goals feel powerful. They look serious.
They sound ambitious. But goals expire.
You hit them. You miss them.
You forget them. And when the goal disappears, so does your effort. Here is the truth you must install: goals expire. Identity endures.
That's the key. You have a choice. You can keep chasing outcomes.
Or you can become the kind of person who produces outcomes automatically. It's not about ambition, it's about discipline. It's not about dreams, it's about discipline. Right now, most of your actions are built on desire. I want to be disciplined. I want to be focused. I want to be consistent. Wanting is weak language. It gives your brain a way out. But identity is not a wish. Identity is a command. You don't need their permission. There is a difference between saying, I want discipline, and saying, I am disciplined.
One is a hope.
The other is a rule.
That's the key.
Think about how you already live by identity. You don't say, I want to brush my teeth. You brush your teeth because you are the kind of person who does. You don't say, I want to answer my name. You answer because it is who you are. Identity removes negotiation.
You have a choice.
You can keep setting goals that your emotions control. Or you can build an identity that controls your emotions. Most people build their lives backwards. They wait for results to feel like someone. They wait for success to call themselves disciplined. That never works. Identity is built first.
Evidence follows. That's the key.
Say the line now. Act like who you are becoming.
Again.
Act like who you are becoming. Your behavior is not created by your goals. It is created by your self-image. If you see yourself as inconsistent, you will act inconsistent. If you see yourself as disciplined, you will act disciplined. You don't need their permission. Let me make it practical.
You wake up late.
The old you says, I failed today. The new identity says, I am disciplined. I move now.
One action. No emotion.
Because identity overrides mood.
You have a choice.
Right now, your language is sabotaging you. You say, I'm trying.
You say, I hope.
You say, I'll do better.
Trying is optional.
Being is mandatory. It's not about effort, it's about discipline. Here is the rule. The identity statement. You choose 3 words that describe who you are becoming. Not who you want to be. Who you are now. Example. I am disciplined. I am focused. I am reliable. You repeat these before action. Not after.
Before.
Because identity precedes behavior.
That's the key.
Now let's talk about goals. Goals are useful. But only as direction. They tell you where to walk. Identity decides whether you walk. Without identity, goals are decoration.
You have a choice.
Here is the second instruction. The evidence rule. Every day you collect proof. One small action that confirms your identity. If you say, I am disciplined, your proof might be 5 minutes of work when tired. If you say, I am focused, your proof might be 1 distraction-free block. The action does not need to be impressive.
It needs to be consistent.
Because identity is built from evidence. You don't need their permission. Now listen carefully.
Your brain is a courtroom.
Every action is evidence. You either build a case for strength or a case for weakness. And the judge is always watching.
That's the key.
You say you want change, but you keep acting like the old person. And then you wonder why nothing shifts. It's not about desire, it's about discipline. Your future is not created by what you plan. It is created by what you repeat.
Say it again.
Act like who you are becoming.
That's the key.
Here is the third instruction.
The no contradiction rule.
You do not act against your identity. If you say you are disciplined, you do not scroll when work is required. If you say you are focused, you do not multitask. You don't need their permission. One contradiction weakens the identity. One aligned action strengthens it.
You have a choice.
Every day you are casting votes for who you are. You are never neutral. You are either reinforcing the old self or building the new one. Most people wait for a breakthrough moment. There is no breakthrough. There is only accumulation.
That's the key.
This chapter is not asking you to become arrogant. It is asking you to become consistent. You stop chasing feelings. You start obeying identity. You don't wake up and ask, "How do I feel?" You ask, "Who am I?" And then you act accordingly. You don't need their permission. Your goals will change.
Your moods will change.
Your circumstances will change. But identity endures. Say it one last time. Act like who you are becoming.
That's the key.
You no longer chase discipline.
You become disciplined. You built systems. You cut distractions.
Now you shape the core. You mastered who you are. Now we master when you act. Chapter 8. Win the first hour. Your morning decides your life.
Not your talent. Not your luck. Your first hour.
Say it clearly, your morning decides your life.
That's the key. You have a choice.
You can wake up and let the world attack your mind. Or you can wake up and command the day before it commands you. Most people open their eyes and immediately surrender.
They reach for the phone.
They read messages.
They absorb noise.
And before they even stand up, their focus is gone. You don't need their permission. The first hour is not about productivity. It is about authority. Whoever controls your first hour controls your identity. It's not about energy, it's about discipline. It's not about motivation, it's about discipline. Your brain in the morning is empty.
Quiet. Unprotected.
The first input becomes the operating system for the entire day.
That's the key.
If the first thing you consume is distraction, your day will be scattered. If the first thing you practice is discipline, your day will obey.
You have a choice.
Here is the truth no one wants to accept. You don't start your day at work. You start it the second your eyes open. And most people lose the day in the first 5 minutes. Scrolling.
Checking. Comparing.
That is not harmless. That is surrender. You don't need their permission. Say it with force. Win early, dominate late.
That's the key.
This chapter is not about becoming a morning person. It is about becoming a leader. Leaders don't react.
They prepare. Rule 1. No phone.
Your phone does not exist in the first hour. Not for messages.
Not for news. Not for entertainment.
You don't negotiate this rule. Because distraction in the morning is poison for discipline.
You have a choice.
Let the world program your mind. Or program it yourself.
That's the key. Rule 2. Move your body. Not a workout. Movement. Walk. Stretch. Breathe.
You activate the body so the mind follows. Low energy is not cured by caffeine. It is cured by motion. It's not about comfort, it's about discipline. Rule 3. Clear the mission. Before the world throws tasks at you, you choose the target.
One task. The most important one.
You write it down.
Not mentally. Physically.
Because written commands are harder to disobey. You don't need their permission. This is not planning.
This is programming.
You are telling your brain what matters.
You have a choice.
Now listen carefully. People think their days fall apart because they are busy.
No.
Their days fall apart because they never claimed them. Your first hour is a declaration of ownership.
That's the key.
Here is the next instruction.
The first hour contract.
You make a contract with yourself. The first hour is protected. No one interrupts it. No one invades it. You wake up earlier if needed. You go to sleep earlier if needed. Because the disciplined life is not built at night.
It is built at dawn.
You don't need their permission.
Now be honest.
How many times have you promised yourself to fix your mornings?
And then broken that promise?
That is not a motivation problem. That is an identity problem. But identity can change. Say it now, I protect the first hour.
That's the key. The first hour checklist.
Every morning you follow the same sequence.
No phone. Movement. One clear task.
Not when it's easy.
Every day.
Because repetition creates authority.
You have a choice.
You can let chaos decide your direction. Or you can design your life before chaos wakes up. It's not about mood, it's about discipline. Now let me tell you what happens when you win the first hour. Your mind becomes quieter. Your confidence grows.
Your decisions sharpen.
Because you already proved something before the world made a demand. You proved that you lead yourself.
That's the key.
Most people try to fix their lives with motivation. You fix yours with structure. You don't need their permission. Here is the deeper truth. Your first hour is not about tasks. It is about identity. You stop waking up as a consumer. You start waking up as a creator. Say it again, win early, dominate late.
That's the key.
Every morning is a vote.
A vote for discipline.
Or a vote for distraction.
You have a choice.
And your future will be built by how you vote when the alarm rings. You mastered your mornings. Now it's time to measure what actually matters. Chapter 9, Track or Stay Average. What you don't measure dies. Read that again. What you don't measure dies. You can have the best intentions on earth. You can feel motivated. You can promise yourself everything. But if you don't track it, it fades. It disappears. It becomes another fantasy you tell yourself to feel good.
You have a choice. Track your life.
Or stay average.
That's the key.
Most people don't fail because they are lazy. They fail because they are blind. They don't know what they did yesterday. They don't know how many days they stayed consistent. They don't know how many hours they wasted scrolling. They don't know how many times they broke their own word.
So they live in stories. Not in facts.
And stories lie. Numbers don't lie.
Say it.
Numbers don't lie. Your brain will lie to you every day. It will say, I tried. It will say, I was busy. It will say, I'll do better tomorrow. But numbers don't lie. You either trained today or you didn't. You either wrote today or you didn't. You either stayed disciplined or you didn't. It's not about motivation, it's about measurement. It's not about feeling inspired, it's about visible proof. It's not about who you want to become, it's about what you recorded.
That's the key.
You don't need their permission to take your life seriously.
You don't need applause. You don't need a coach. You don't need a perfect system. You need a pen, a note app, a piece of paper.
Something that shows you the truth. Because the truth is the only thing that changes you. Here is how average people live.
They wake up. They guess. They go to sleep. They guess again.
They feel productive.
They feel disciplined.
They feel like they are improving. But they never check. And what you don't measure dies. Now here is how disciplined people live.
They track. Not in their head. On paper. On a screen.
Where they can't escape it. They don't ask, do I think I did enough? They ask, what does the data say?
That's the key.
You don't build discipline with emotion. You build it with evidence. Let me show you something simple.
You choose one habit. Just one. Training. Reading. No sugar.
Waking up early.
No porn.
No excuses. You write it at the top of a page. Then every day you mark it.
A check or an X.
Green or red. Success or failure.
No stories. No explanations. Just truth.
Because numbers don't lie. At the end of the week, you look at the page. Not to judge yourself, but to see reality.
3 checks.
4 failures. Now you are no longer confused. Now you are no longer guessing.
You have a choice. You fix the pattern.
Or you accept average.
That's the key.
People say they want discipline, but they run from the scoreboard. Because the scoreboard is uncomfortable. It exposes you. It shows you exactly who you are.
Not who you claim to be. Not who you plan to be.
Who you are right now. It's not about shame, it's about clarity. It's not about guilt, it's about control. Once you see your numbers, you regain power. Because now improvement is not emotional. It's mechanical. You were consistent 2 days last week. This week you aim for 3.
Not perfection. Progress.
You don't need their permission to evolve like this. You don't need anyone to validate your system. You don't need to explain why you track your life. This is between you and your future. And here is where most people sabotage themselves. They make tracking complicated.
Fancy apps. 10 categories. Perfect systems. Then they quit.
Tracking is not about beauty. It's about brutality.
Simple. Ugly. Honest. 1 habit. 1 line. Every day. That's it.
Because what you don't measure dies. And streaks change behavior. When you see 3 clean days in a row, you don't want to break it. When you see 5 victories in a row, your identity shifts. You stop saying, I'm trying. You start saying, I don't break streaks.
That's the key.
Your brain is addicted to patterns. You give it a visible chain, it will fight to protect it. But if there is no chain, there is nothing to protect. Average people live invisible lives. No records.
No proof. No memory.
Disciplined people leave tracks. Every mark is a vote for your new identity. Every check is you telling yourself, I keep my word. And every X is not failure.
It is feedback.
Numbers don't lie. You didn't wake up early 3 days this week.
Good.
Now you know where to focus. It's not about blame, it's about adjustment. It's not about ego, it's about execution. You don't need their permission to be ruthless with your data. Look at your habits like a scientist, not like a victim.
You have a choice.
Analyze your numbers.
Or hide from them. That's the key.
Now I want you to do something today.
Not tomorrow.
Not when you feel ready.
Today.
Open your notes.
Write this title.
Daily Discipline Tracker. Under it, write today's date. Then write 3 habits you are tired of lying about.
Just 3. No more.
And tonight before you sleep, you mark them. No matter how the day went. No matter how you feel. Because discipline is built at the end of the day. When no one is watching. This is how you close the gap between who you are and who you want to be.
Not with dreams. With documentation.
Because what you don't measure dies. And here is the hard truth. You are not stuck because life is unfair. You are stuck because you don't track. You forget your failures. You exaggerate your effort. You rewrite your past. Numbers don't lie. And the moment you face them, your excuses collapse. It's not about talent, it's about tracking. It's not about confidence, it's about consistency. It's not about who you admire, it's about what you record.
That's the key.
You don't need their permission to live like this. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to post it. You just do the work. And you leave the proof. Because proof builds pressure. Pressure builds discipline. Discipline builds identity. And identity changes everything.
You have a choice.
You can continue living in vague promises. Or you can start living in visible facts. 1 check mark at a time. This chapter is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming honest. And honesty is the foundation of discipline. Now you've learned to face the numbers. You've learned to stop guessing. You've learned to create visible proof. But tracking alone is not enough. Because there is another habit that destroys discipline even when everything is measured. You mastered your scoreboard. Now, let's talk about the silent killer of progress.
Chapter 10. Become relentless. Discipline is not an event. It's a reputation. Not a moment. A pattern.
Not something you do once. Something people can count on you to do forever. That's the difference between intensity and identity. You don't become disciplined because you had one good week. You become disciplined when your actions stop being surprising. When no one is shocked that you showed up. Because you always show up.
You have a choice. Be impressive once.
Or be dependable always.
That's the key.
Most people are performers. They work hard when someone is watching. They quit when the room is empty.
They love applause. They hate silence.
But real discipline is built in rooms with no cameras.
No praise. No validation.
Just you and your standards. You don't need their permission to become relentless. You don't need a coach screaming in your ear. You don't need a perfect mood. You need one sentence burned into your mind. I do it anyway.
Say it.
I do it anyway. Tired. I do it anyway. Bored. I do it anyway.
Unmotivated.
I do it anyway.
That's the key.
Relentless people don't wait for the right feeling. They act despite the wrong one. It's not about excitement, it's about execution. It's not about desire, it's about discipline. It's not about talent, it's about tenacity. Your reputation is built quietly. One invisible decision at a time. You skipped training today.
No one saw it.
But your brain saw it. Your standard saw it.
Your future saw it.
And it remembered. Every time you quit privately, you train yourself to be unreliable. Every time you continue privately, you train yourself to be unstoppable. Numbers don't lie. But behavior doesn't hide either.
You have a choice.
Teach your brain that you are a finisher. Or teach it that you always have an excuse.
That's the key.
Here's what average people do.
They negotiate.
I'll start tomorrow. I'll skip just today. I'll make it up later. And later never comes. Relentless people don't negotiate. They execute. They don't ask how they feel. They ask what must be done. Because it's not about comfort, it's about commitment. It's not about moods, it's about momentum. You don't need their permission to operate like this.
You don't need a speech. You don't need hype.
You need a rule. No matter what happens, I do the work.
That's the key.
Now let me be clear. Relentlessness is not aggression.
It's consistency.
It's waking up when you promised. It's finishing what you started. It's returning to the standard even after you fail. Because failure is not the opposite of discipline.
Quitting is. You miss a day. You don't quit. You fall off track.
You get back on immediately.
Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now.
I do it anyway. That phrase is stronger than motivation. Stronger than confidence. Stronger than talent. Because talent collapses under pressure. Confidence disappears in chaos. But reputation remains. And your reputation is not what people say. It's what your habits repeat.
That's the key.
You want to become someone who is feared by weakness. Someone your old habits can't control anymore. Then stop reacting. Start enforcing. Every night ask yourself one question. Did I keep my word today?
Not to the world. To myself.
If the answer is no, don't cry.
Don't justify. Don't explain.
Correct. You don't need their permission to run your life like a system. You don't need to feel powerful.
You need to be precise.
It's not about being hard, it's about being honest. It's not about being extreme, it's about being exact.
You have a choice.
Build a reputation you respect. Or keep living as a promise you never fulfill.
That's the key.
Relentlessness is boring. And that's why it works.
No fireworks. No drama.
Just repetition.
People chase excitement, but excitement fades.
Relentless people chase alignment. They align their actions with their values every day.
Even when it's dull.
Especially when it's dull. Because boredom is the real test. Anyone can act when they are inspired. Only disciplined people act when nothing is happening.
I do it anyway.
That sentence is your shield. When life is heavy. When results are slow. When nobody cares.
I do it anyway.
Your standards don't rise with your mood. They stay fixed. That's what builds trust with yourself. And once you trust yourself, everything changes. You stop second-guessing.
You stop hesitating.
You stop bargaining.
You become automatic.
And automatic beats emotional every time. You don't need their permission to be this person. You don't need approval to outgrow your old self.
You just repeat the process. Day after day.
Failure after failure.
Win after win.
Because discipline is not an event.
It's a reputation. Say it again.
Discipline is not an event.
It's a reputation.
And reputation is built when nobody is watching. Now you've learned how to track your habits. You've learned how to show up relentlessly. But there is one more layer to master. Because discipline can still be destroyed by a force you don't see.
You became consistent.
Now it's time to become protected. You don't need another quote. You need a standard. From today, you stop asking how you feel and start asking what must be done. You don't wait for motivation. You execute the system. You wake up when it's hard. You work when it's boring. You finish when it hurts. This is how weak habits die. This is how discipline is built, one forced action at a time. Here is your challenge. For the next 7 days, do one hard thing daily with zero negotiation.
No delay. No debate. No excuse. Start now.
Close this audiobook and prove it with action.